Hello everybody. Today I want to talk a little bit about how you can start becoming a little bit more aware and a little bit more knowledgeable about what's called a half-halt in dressage. And the half-halt, of course, has, so many elusive descriptions and so many different books and articles have been written about it. And it's still something that is sometimes hard to describe. So I will just give you my version and my take on it. And as the wording already alludes to, it's a half halt, it's not a full halt. So it is an inhibiting moment in your riding that tells the horse not so much forward, but still forward. But slowing down, but not so much that it would be a full halt, right? So that's the basic idea behind the terminology. Now, when you break it down, every half halt consists of three different parts. There is the driving, the inhibiting, and the releasing part of the half halt. And to start with the inhibiting is usually one way of, kind of making a little bit of a logical breakdown of all of this that needs to happen in a fairly quick succession, of course. So let's say inhibiting. Inhibiting can happen by either using a tiny little vibrational or, squeezing motion with your rein aids in little intervals. There's never a long holding standing aid in most parts of, what the half halt means. And of course it varies, all of these different things vary quite significantly from walk to trot to canter. So I'm just going to go about the general parts of it, and then I'll show you a little bit in the posting trot how you can start with this. So inhibiting, as I said, with the rein aids possibly, and by increasing your knee pressure. Your knee pressure, which in German is der Knieschluss, they call it the closure of the knee, not so much the pressure, but it's sort of an on and off of rhythmic, applying of pressure with both knees at the same time to let the horse know that you want to slow down with him or her, right? And that is something that has to do with the reflex buttons underneath the horse that will make the horse respond to that. You can try it even in the walk on the long rein, where you walk and your legs are pretty relaxed, and then you're going to start putting knee pressure on. And here you see how I can slowly make him to just come to a halt just from that. I relax my knees, cup him a little bit, and take my legs off in this case because he is a little bit resistant to the leg aids. We're working on that. But so that's what I mean when I say knee pressure. In the trot, it's indifferent. In the sitting trot, on. As you come down in your saddle, the knee pressure goes on and then it releases when you come up in the saddle in the wave motion of the trot, right? Posting trot, the same thing. You're going to be able to feel when you can apply the knee pressure, right? And so that makes the horse say, oh, okay, slower. Now you have to think, of course, in terms of the horse's experience, is that slower eventually turns to very slow and then to a halt, right? And so when you go into the next part, the driving part of the half halt comes from your lower legs, right? And again, very much depending on whether you're in the walk, trot, or canter, that differs. But in most cases, the inside leg is the more predominantly driving aid. The outside leg is a little bit farther back in the supporting position. And both legs have different intervals in which they come on, right? Now, if you want to support the inhibiting aid of part of your half halt and use your knee pressure a little bit, that means that you can use also your lower leg by putting it a little bit farther back. Like where I have my outside leg right now would be your slow down lower leg position. Some horses need that to understand more fully what you want, and others don't. So you have to experiment a little bit with that. So now we have two things. We have the inhibiting, we have the driving, and then we have the releasing part of the half halt. The releasing has to do with releasing the knee pressure, maybe the lower leg pressure too a little bit, or the intensity of it. And last but not least, the rein aids. And again, in intervals, it could be a little short squeeze that you're releasing into a little bit of a give. Again, in the trot, different than in the canter, in the walk, different with shoulder to shoulder and regular both hands giving at the same time rein contact. So I'm covering a lot of ground here as I'm talking about this, but it's also just the beginning of you to understand and to wrap your head around what I'm saying, right? So we're going to start here in a moment. I'm going to go into posting trot and I'll show you. Half-halting has to do with usually condensing or compressing the horse's frame a little bit, which means you're saying to the front end of the horse, hey, wait for me, not so fast, and that comes from your knee pressure and a little bit perhaps with your reins, but that's a very secondary aid usually. Just helps with the balance. As you can see in the medium walk right now, I'm just going to go very nice and slow, and then as we go into the trot, we're going to apply a little bit of knee pressure and perhaps the lower legs a little bit back if he's not responding to just that, just to get him to make some initial smaller steps, and in collection, they're not going to step that much further underneath, but their hind end will eventually lower a little bit more so that the front end of the horse can come up, the shoulders can come up, and the lightness that everybody always talks about will over time become part of the equation that everybody's hoping and wishing for, right? So we're going to go into a posting trot here right now. Oh my good Spidey. So easy going posting trot. So and we're just going to go for one round very nicely here, all the way around, regular working trot. Just trying to establish a nice easy-going rhythm, and I'm riding around a little rectangle that I have set up for myself here that goes approximately around a 20-meter circle, right? And so then I'm going to go around this corner, working trot, even, everything nice and even, and then I'm going to close my knees a little bit here into a few steps of a condensed version of the trot, smaller steps, right? Knee pressure on. Now I'm going to let him out again a little bit. Hop, hop, hop. I use my voice a little bit. And then again here, a little bit of condensing. And he's not very, very familiar with this at all. This is only the second time that we're doing this. So it's not a finished product, but I'm going to show you anyway because you might be in a similar spot with your horses. There you go. A little knee pressure, lower legs a little bit further back, inhibiting with the reins a little bit. And then I'm going to let him out here, scoot my tailbone under a little bit, and I'm just going to let him go a little bit longer to find his mojo again. And then we're going to go across the arena here, or our little mini arena that we've set up for ourselves. Switch our diagonals. And then we're going to go and do it, try a little bit to this side here. Come around the corner, knee pressure. Come. So, a little bit smaller steps. And here we go again. Around the corner, a little bit refreshing of the trot, forward. But in a nice way here, knee pressure. And you can see it's almost like he almost wants to come to a walk. This is where my lower leg comes into the game, where I say to him with my knee, wait, and here I'm going to go say forward again. With my knee I say wait, and with my lower legs I have to say come on, maybe with my voice, maybe with a little bit of clucking. You see this? These are the very, very beginnings. Thank you so much, Spidey. That was all I really want to show right now. Just, take it easy with your own horses too if you're just starting out with it. I'm just going to go into a walk here. Good boy, Miss Spidey. And say thank you to him for being a good sport. It's only been, like I said, the second time that we've been experimenting with it. But that's where a lot of these things start. And if you don't know any of these principles yet, don't worry and feel free to experiment. As long as your attitude stays positive and your horse shows you that there's some kind of level of understanding, even if it's not perfect, but that there is something that creates that inhibiting part where the horse slows down for a few steps, and we're not even talking about, is it bouncy enough for collection? Is the pull the highest part of all of that will come? by applying these principles over and over. And to get started, this is a really good place. And I hope this was helpful for you. And I thank you, Spidey, and I wish you happy riding. Good boy, mein Süßer.